My observation is that, particularly on flooding issue and construction of dams, the Technical Subcommittee on Dams last year, according to what you have read, recommended the need for construction of more dams as stated, and as recommended by the National Water Resources Master Plan 2013. The specific issue that I can remember, that of Dadin Hausa Dam or River Benue, my observation is that the progress on this has been very slow because they say it's in the pipeline, it's now in 2021 budget provision. I don't know why it's taking so much. If I remember very well, this has been in the pipeline for about 20 years now, if not more than that. So one would like to know what is causing the delay in implementing it. Maybe it's due to budget provision that is not there or is very low or some other reasons. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. You want to answer that?
Yes, I think it's only the Honorable Minister that can answer this question.
Okay, because I was going to call on the Director of Dams to answer.
He may know, but
Director of Dams, do you have anything to say on that?
Only the Minister can tell.
Chairman of the subcommittee. It has already been said by the Chairman of the subcommittee on dams. Okay. Yes, thank you, ma'am. Okay. What I just wanted to add is one person's question on the flooding by other rivers. What you should know is that not all the rivers are being dammed. Most of the rivers, where we don't have a dam on it, there is nothing we can do to abate flooding from such rivers. So if a river is not discharging into any of our reservoirs, there is no way we can control it, because it takes its source from somewhere along the line. People has dumped refuse inside the channels, and now the water has been constrained. Some people will go and do some buildings along the river channel. They will narrow the river course, and now when the water comes in a wider area and now suddenly gets a narrow area, the tendency is that it will build up and spread across and now cause flooding. There is nothing we can do on that one. But I assure you, all our rivers, all our reservoirs where we have our dams, we are working on a procedure of proper operation, where we are going to sensitize all the stakeholders that are dam owners to properly regulate their reservoirs, to make sure that during dry season, they systematically operate the reservoir to lower the river safely into the river channels, so as to create more room for the incoming flood during the next rainy season. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So are we okay with that update?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are still on action number 1 of the 26th session. If you look at the column, we have the serial number, the number of the memorandum, issues for discussion, for action, and action by who. And as the Secretariat, I want to seek the clarity of this House, who is to report on the actions taken at the technical session. Because if you look at what you have there, you read the Department of Dams and Reservoir Operations, Federal Minister of Water Resources, to report progress. Let me know who performed that responsibility so that I'll be able to do the right thing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I believe we can go on to number 2. No, it's the okay. Okay, Secretariat wants a clarification for their records. Which route are we taking? Is it from the committee or from the director? What is our observation or information? Okay, let's hear.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the department is the right place to get there. The committee will still work and submit their report to the respective department. It's the department that should report, except if the department now decides to allow the committee to report, because they have the authority, because they are the implementing agency, not the committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to say something on that. We heard you loud and clear that the department asked you to do this.
Exactly, because we didn't write that one. They wrote and brought it to the
Yes.
committee. Thank you.
We understand. So are we okay with number 1? So we move on to number 2. I'll give to the secretariat to please read number 2.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you notice, we started very late, and we need to be fast. If you permit me, I will mention the action number and who is to give us the action so that we can move fast, because we have another assignment somewhere. And please, if you don't mind, whoever is giving the report, come to the podium so that they will see you and report well to those that are supposed to carry this message home. Thank you very much. I go to action number 2, memorandum to seek approval of National Technical Committee on Water Resources. For the Federal Minister of Water Resources to seek approval of the Federal Executive Council, National Economic Council for effective utilization of impounded water in dam reservoir across the country. Action to be taken is by Department of Dams Reservoir Operation, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, to report the progress. Thank you.
Microphone.
Thank you, Permanent Secretary, and all other protocols. You see, the department has already started engaging the stakeholders. Already, the Enugu State Governor and the Imo State Governor has already been sensitized to utilize the water that is going to be impounded, and that has been impounded. The Enugu State Governor has been sensitized to utilize the water of the just concluded Adada River Dam project. Similarly, the Imo State Government has been sensitized to utilize the water impounded by the just concluded Amozare As Dam project. Why other stakeholders has not been sensitized is due to the lockdown caused by the pandemic. Everybody is aware that this pandemic has stalled a lot of progresses. So, in a nutshell, we are going to now engage in a workshop with all the river basin development authorities and other necessary stakeholders in the near future, after the COVID-19 has gone down well, when we have the flow, then so that we will now collaborate with all these stakeholders on the need to utilize most of the rivers, most of the water we have impounded in most of our dams. I will employ even the Upper Niger. Now I am even sensitizing Upper Niger State, Upper Niger River Basin Development Authority to go and utilize the Gimi Dam project The water has been there for the past 2 years, sitting down, doing nothing. So they have to go there and put the irrigation system in collaboration with Kaduna State government. The same thing goes to Niger State, Delta State government. The Ogashuku Dam has already been there, and they're crying they don't have water. Just for them to go and put the treatment plant and do the reticulation to take the water to their people. The water is sitting down there doing nothing. Therefore, we are going to do this workshop and engage more stakeholders. Thank you.
No, don't go away, please. Director Dams. Director Dams. Don't go away, please, in case there are questions.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, so we've heard him. So any questions, any comments, any suggestions? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, madam. My own concern is why build a dam when you don't want to use the water? At least there was a purpose for putting up the dam in the first instance. Though after completion of the dam, why not use the water for the purpose it was originally meant to do? And somebody has to come to you to plead for you to use the water. It's quite surprising to me when we are sitting down here and discussing, convincing somebody to use the water he has invested money in to construct. Please, people should do what is right. And the dams that are doing the right thing, they should go out and meet them. Thank you, ma'am.
So that's an advice. Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. My name is Engineer Emeka Ugayam from Imo State. I only want to add to the report of the Director of Dams and Irrigation. The sensitization in Imo is not only on Amuzare Dam, but also on the Inishi Dam. Be properly captured because with officials of the Anambra River Basin Development Authority, we have visited the two dams with the expectation that soon they will be completed and put into use immediately. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, after.
Madam Chair, my name is Williams Abba from Gombe State. The issue of underutilization of impounded waters in the dams is a worrisome issue in this country, and it cut across the states and the federal government. So we want the state to be carried along in any plan that will enhance the utilization of already constructed dams for human capital development. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Dams, would you like to respond to any of the questions or suggestions?
Yes, ma'am. I will respond to the three questions already stated. The first one is that somebody will say he's sitting down there, somebody has constructed a dam just for him to come and say, come and utilize this water. You should know that before we start embarking on any dam construction, we have the request, especially from the people that are lacking, either from the senator or from the rep or from the chiefs or from some group of youth writing letter to the ministry, please come and construct down here, come and construct down here. We will go and do the need assessment to find out whether actually they needed that. Once they needed that one now, we engage with them, then we construct the dam, and they have the responsibility to do the downstream sector. That if it is water supply, they should do the reticulation and do the treatment plan. If it is irrigation, they should put the irrigation hydropower. But they will say everything, federal government should carry everything on it by itself. Please, the burden is too much on the federal government. We have to collaborate. You as the user, you as the beneficiary, you have to also contribute to your own quota. So that it is very saddening to find out that before, federal government have done such kind of things. They put the dam there, they put the treatment plant there, just for the state to do the reticulation, the connection from the treatment plant to the people where they will benefit. The state government failed to do that. And the whole infrastructure is just left abandoned. So, and they expect the federal government to come also and do the operation and maintenance of such facilities for them. What is the use of the state government? What is the use of the state water boards? So, as for those that are saying that some of the state governments are not being carried out, maybe I can't say that all the state governments have been carried out on all the dams we have constructed before. That depends on the planning. But now we are taking that corrective measures that before we embarked on any new dam construction, the state government must undertake to build the downstream infrastructure. We have to sign an MOU with the state government to make sure that before we put this dam you are requesting, we must sign an MOU that we are going to put that one. I will give you an example of Kaduna State government. When we started Galma Dam project in Kaduna State, 2014 or 2004 or so thereabout, we have the dam and we have a treatment plant. The state government took to itself to do the treatment plant and the reticulation, while the federal government should do the dam and impound the water for it. Now, the state government has even finished the treatment plant and even commissioned it before the dam has been completed. The dam was completed after they completed the treatment plant, just about 6 months interval. And now the dam is being fully utilized and supplying the necessary water. So you can see this is a good example, and we enjoy all the state governments to also emulate the step of the Kaduna State government. Now, Kaduna State government, they want to develop the ETC multipurpose dam project in Kaduna, and we have signed an OAU for them that what we are going to do, we only put the dam for them and the access road leading to the dam. They now took the responsibility to do the treatment plant, to do the reticulation network, to do even the irrigation aspect there. So we have a written MOU with Kaduna State government. So we are going to do the same thing with all the other state governments. And now we are taking a bold step on the completion of ongoing projects that has not been completed. Where the necessary stakeholders are not involved, we are going to involve them on the completion of this ongoing dam project. Somebody asked of whether what is the meaning of NEC is the National Economic Council. So I hope I have answered most of that one. Then somebody talked about, we talk about Moseri, we should also talk about Inishi. Of course, it is sad to say that the Inishi Dam project has been completed. It has been impounded. We have done the treatment plant, but unfortunately the beneficiaries refuse to see that one as their own. And they go and completely vandalize the treatment plant. You find nothing there. They even burnt even the staff housing and the offices, and everything is gone. So now we have already said a consultant has already submitted his final report just last week about the need of what is going to be needed to rehabilitate and reactivate the Inishi Dam project. And a number of Imo State government is going to be, and the Imo State government, they are going to be fully carried out in the rehabilitation of this dam project. Thank you for that comment.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. No, Director Dams, you are not done yet. Maybe we should get you a chair. Get him a chair to sit down.
Yeah, thank you, ma. I'm still standing. I think I salute the passion with which the acting director of Dam is marshalling out his points. That has been the issue that is actually affecting many of our projects. But I'm glad also that corrective measure is being taken by making sure that all the stakeholders are carried along from conception to implementation up to utilization. One thing I want the department to take note, he raised an issue which I'm quite pleased with, and that is the issue of trying to get convene stakeholders meeting to discuss how to utilize some of these dams or other facilities, including water supply. And I will also suggest that the Department of River Basin in the ministry should be involved in that so that it will be all inclusive, so that all the river basins where these facilities are located are carried along. I think with that, it will make a good sense in making sure that these facilities are not just abandoned, but they are properly utilized for the purposes for which they are meant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that is something for the ministry to take note of. And I think with that, I still see one hand. So that will be the last for number 1.
Madam Chairperson, I just want to have an antidote to this. One of our former ministers did say about this utilization of facilities provided by way of dams in states. And he said that there is no animal known as federal that drinks water. Those that drink the water are the people in the states, and the states must make it a point to ensure that the bulk water that is provided is passed on to the people. I just want to let the states know that the federal cannot do everything and should not be expected to do everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So as we conclude on number 1, I think one important fact is that the states need to know that it is a partnership. So the federal government plays its role, and the state also has a role to play. Can we move on to number 2, or is it very critical for you to say what you have to say? Okay, let's hear him at the back.
I am Engineer Amatemeso Emmanuel. Please permit me to digress a little on what is affecting the areas in our nation that is not feasible to construct dams. It was part of the federal government also to support those areas with what we call the regional water schemes. And in such programs, 2-3 local government areas benefit from such programs. It is disheartening to note that programs and projects that some of the projects that were even embarked upon by River State, by the federal government in 2000, like the Otami River and all others in that group, have not been concluded. And we are suffering from this. We cannot benefit from dams construction. We can only use either the underground groundwater or the surface water. And we are still on that note, strongly appealing to the federal government to come in and conclude at least these programs, these projects that they have commenced to a reasonable conclusion. Whichever support that the state will give, even if the headworks have been concluded, I think the regulations will not be too much for the states. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think with that we conclude on the issue of dams. Let's move on to number 3, and I'd like the Secretary to please read it out.
Thank you, ma'am. Action number 3 of the 26th session, memorandum on the need for mandatory capacity enhancement program in the water sector. Action by National Water Resource Institute, 36 states of the Federation, and FCT to report. That means when the Institute reports, whichever state that has taken action on that will give us the progress reports. Thank you.
So will the DG of the Institute please step forward to give us an update? Thank you.
Thank you, Permanent Secretary. If you recall, the Council was briefed on the need for this enhancement capacity building issues. First, there were actually 4 categories from level 1. It's a kind of a refresher course for the junior who are crossing to senior cadre. Those who have just been recruited, what we call induction. Number 3 is the middle management cadre, normally from about level 12 to 14. And of course, the last is the directorate, the senior directorate. Action taken, 1 induction course has been approved, and of course, some resources was actually allocated, and presently, the course is actually going at the National Water Resources Institute. 2, modules and the structures for the other programs have been developed and waiting for circulation to all stakeholders so that we carry them along on what it takes. Of course, some funding has also been provided in the 2021 appropriation for implementation of this program. Then we're supposed to hold a stakeholder meeting with all the human resources development officers from the ministry, River Basin Development Authorities, the State Water Board, and other stakeholders on this. This is the program we've done on this at the moment. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've heard him. Let's take comments, please. Comments on number 3, memorandum on the need for mandatory capacity enhancement program in the water sector. Okay, maybe we should listen to the others first. So maybe we invite, is there any state here who would like to give an update, please? Any state to give an update? Any state? OCT here to give an update. FCT. The states, are you with us? Okay. So any comments then on the report from the National Water Resources Institute?
I think from the, okay. Dr. Pam is my name, from Plateau State. They just developed the modules. They are yet to receive, we are yet to receive the modules in the states. Okay. When we receive the modules, then we will consider them and see who fits in to go for such type of training. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes?
Thank you, Permanent Secretary. My name is Engineer Magashi. Mine is a comment, and I think that the National Water Resources Institute has taken a bold step in trying to really upgrade the level at which we are. Because there is no gainsaying that we are losing a lot of professionals, and there is need for training. And this we have to start as fast as possible so that we can really get the level to where it is or close to where it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Next to him.
I'm Engineer R.A.K. Jimo. I'm a retired coordinating director, Nigeria Integrated Water Resource Management Commission, and now a resource person. On the issue of capacity enhancement they are talking about, this is very critical. Nobody will want to gainsay that fact. But I think over the years, there has been complaint that major stakeholders are not patronizing the institute very well. There's Federal Ministry of Water Resources, states, and the private sector, and so on. So in our report of progress made, apart from developing the modules, one would like to know whether there is improvement in the level of patronage from these stakeholders. Like this year now, relative to last year, was there improvement in patronage or there's none? So it should be very important to hear this. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. National Water Resources, I hope you are taking note. Okay, so next person, please. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much once again. My name is Professor Joseph Ajayi. In furtherance of what the last speaker has just said, being chairman of the Human Resources Development, I think it is not enough to ask states what have they done. Any state that have done something. I think, Madam, I would suggest, Chairman, that you call each state alphabetically. Let them tell us what they have done. And if there is not here, let us note that, and then for future action. Because it's a council decision. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Permanent Secretary. This subject matter is very, very important. Very, very important. In fact, it's the foundation of everything that we are doing in the water sector. The right education, right capacity of the experts, of the professionals. So it's fundamental. And from the reports, I really don't think we need to call out the state one by one again, because if there was no response, it means that none of the states did anything on this council directive. And so we should make a strong, we should give a strong feedback to council to the effect that no state complied with that directive. And it's very, very important. We are now talking of IWRM, Integrated Water Resources Management. It's a new concept and the best approach for water resources management. And the National Water Resources Institute is well equipped to train professionals in the sector on IWRM. And so we have seen their course outlines as they were circulated, some were circulated and all of that. So we are aware. I think that there should be a strong move, strong recommendation to council. All the commissioners will be there. And let them take a second look at it and and then take a decision on this, because we have very, very elderly professionals who ordinarily should be resting at home, but they are here with us, still trying to assist us. And we have a lot of the young people in the hall out there, or even outside the hall, that are supposed to be taking the lead by now. And the institute is well equipped, like I said. It's already even taking programs at master's level. So we should take advantage. As for us in the River Basin, first of all, my name is John Ochibo. I'm Director, River Basin Operations and Inspectorate. As for us in the River Basin, I want to say that we are doing a lot to patronize the institute. All the river basins are sending their officers to the institute on training on data management, data collection, and various aspects. And so I want to say that other sectors should also follow suit. Thank you very much.
Hello. My name is Naphtali Jeremy Dako, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Water Resources. Now, we know the importance of capacity building. There's no doubt about it. Whatever resources you commit in capacity building is not a waste. In fact, it's not an expenditure. But what we want to say is that you cannot patronize what you don't know. Our colleague from Plateau has said, we have not, like Nasra said, I have not seen any module, any call for any training from National Water Resources for us to key in, and we didn't. So I don't think it is here for us to chastise the states that we are refusing to key into this. Absolutely, I don't think it's right. So let's see, the National Water Resources Institute should live up to their responsibility in developing these modules and sending them to the state and see how we implement. Another side of it is, yes, of course, capacity building is important, but the resources flow, again, is another thing. Sometimes some of these courses are expensive, and sending many people, you have to look at the budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So maybe we should hear the institute. Okay, you both have something to say. Okay.
Hello. My name.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello.
My name, again, Olufemi Odumosu, MD, Ogunashun River Basin Development Authority. I think I just want to make a suggestion to the Institute. You already have, what will I call it? You have some offices or you have some stations that you are utilizing, some river basin development authorities as a satellite campus, if I want to call it that way. Why don't you organize a decentralized training that you can do in collaboration with all these zones? I mean, the river basin, this zone, and it's much better that you'll be able to bring in, like say for instance, let's say you're organizing something, you have a place in Ogunshu. You can bring in all the southwest states, you know, together, as well as the different water corporation. The same thing with Benue Way now or Lower Benue. Then you'll be able to have many programs at the same time, capacity building. You can easily do it on the 6 geopolitical zones. I think that will be much better, and that will be more far-reaching to everybody. Thank you.
Hello.
A very short comment, please. Some of the training things are in situ, so not everything that can be moved to somewhere else. If it is for training, they have to have the lab, and what have you don't move labs. But it is a good idea, whatever you can do outside of the institute, you do. What I'm amazed is other foreign countries take advantage of Water Resources Institute before you make your comment. And then I will repeat, those of you who are in Ondo, Akure, the Honorable Minister, the Chairman of the Council, emphasized that Water Resources is on concurrent list. If even a local government is going to send somebody, I'm sure the Institute will not reject it. So let's just make up our mind and know that we should be able to prioritize the importance of training and live up to our confession. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take only one more, and then the Institute will.
All protocols duly observed. My name is Suleiman Shoebu. I'm the Program Manager, Small Towns Water Supply and Sanitation Agency, Adamawa. I think there is peculiarities with respect to the training needs of the state. We know that the states, some of the states have benefited from donor-funded projects, donor-funded reforms, and that people wanted a quick fix to the problem of the declining water sector in Nigeria. So, like in Adamawa, we have developed our own water policy. We have our own water law draft, which we hope to be passed, and that we want to adopt the principle of cost recovery as a means of sustainability for urban water supply and the small towns water supply. We have also visited Kampala Water and Sewerage Corporation, which is one of the leading African water supply institution, where people are exposed to real issues on the ground that will make you improve your performance as a utility. So having undergone that, I think the water resource, the National Water Resource Institute need to come down to the states to identify their training needs, because the approach from level 1 to level 6 to level 7 or whatever, I think our policy, we are now thinking of improving efficiency and maybe going into cooperation everything will be tied to performance contract. So we are no longer talking of levels, because the level system is the civil service system. And I think going forward, under the cost recovery concept, everything is going to be tied to performance. So definitely this level things will not work as far as Adamawa State is concerned. So there is real need for them to really come down to the states one by one to identify their training needs, so that they don't come and repeat the civil service way of doing things that will not deliver results. All our water sector institutions are comatose. We need to improve on our performance improvement plans and things like that. So having said that, I think they need to make the training attractive so that it doesn't look like a routine. Thank you.
Sorry, point of order. Civil service way of doing things gives results. Point of order. Thank you very much. So now I'll call on the Institute to respond.
Thank you very much. I think the first one on the issue of the details, if you also recall, we've not sent those ones out, but those of you who were during National Water Conference, we actually sent quite a lot of the training needs and of course the whole full calendar in December last year. For this particular one, for the issue of the various input into the various levels, recall that the COVID-19 also took quite some time. It's all from March till about last month. We've not really had face-to-face with that. We tend to do that. We should have. We want to have the first meeting with the Human Resources Development Officers with the Institute before we come out with the GRIP programs. Then on the progress of patronage, yes, if you recall, at the last meeting, we reported that there's quite some progress, but there's still room for improvement. A lot of the ministries, they've also been requesting us for most of those courses and will be carried there. Even during the COVID, we had to have we did some by even virtual, means. It's also a way of also, but generally it has improved compared to what we had before. The need for states implementation, yes. The states, what we do is on two-way sides. I think the next memo is going to be talking on the institutional assessment. Recall, those of you of the states that benefited from the Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Center, we did quite a lot of the institutional assessment to be able to know what are the needs of the state. And then we now use that to factor what most of the trainings that are required by the state. So before we come out with any calendar for the year, we take into consideration most of the institutional assessment that has been done either through the JICA project or through other projects. So we're not part of it. Somebody talked about the follow-up. Yes, it's also part of the follow-up. When we say we want to meet with the HRD, the whole idea is, apart from the institutional assessment, for the HROs, the Human Resource Development Officers, to liaise with all the departments within a particular agency to be able to know needs, so that we can incorporate them, articulate them before we roll them out at the end of the year. Of the zones. Presently, we have what we call the National Network Capacity Building in all the Chobuklo zones. I think we've said this, it was a council decision in Port Harcourt, and it was based on that we had the National Capacity Building Network in each of the geopolitical zones. For the south, for those of you who are not very conversant, we have University of Calabar. For the southeast, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka. For the central, north central, we have University of Ilorin. For the northeast, we have University of Maiduguri. For the southwest, we have Abeokuta. And of course, for the, which one is left now? I think north central, no, northwest, you have Ahmadu Bello University. So we're also using that platform. In addition to field offices that has been opened, we have one in Abeokuta in Ogun State, taking care of the southwest. We have one in Port Harcourt. The MD of the Port Harcourt has graciously given us a place. We also have in Maiduguri, in Makurdi, especially with a lot of the flooding that is taking place. So one is being proposed also at Enugu. So we also have that in addition to the existing network, so that some of these trainings can be decentralized. In addition, we don't have to do all the training at the institute. Sometimes we move to the particular locations where those trainings are needed. So it's ongoing. We believe that with time, most of those logistics will actually thinned out. Then the last one, institutional assessment again, that was also raised. Apart from the institutional assessment for the rural water supply agencies, recall that the World Bank, when we had the first intervention under the World Bank, Institute in collaboration also did some few assessments. Apart from the rural water, we are going back also looking at the various water corporation, the various water board, to do institutional assessment all around the whole state. But this takes some money, so it's going to be on a gradual process. Within the limits of our allocation every year, we'll see what we can do, 1 or 2. Then we also employ most of the agencies to also assist, so that we can come and also operate and ensure that most of these institutional assessments are done, so that we can know the training needs of those people. I think with this, I've more or less covered all of them. Probably my Director General will also try to summarize if there's anything.
Okay, thank you very much. Just so we save some time, let's quickly go to number 4, and then the DG can now summarize everything, because number 4 is almost the same as issues. So number 4 is memorandum on the final assessment for capacity development of state water agencies in the country. So the Institute can now speak to that, and then later the DG will summarize. Hold on.
Thank you. As part of the 2020 state, because we try as much as possible to cover the state, we've done quite some in Northwest, North Central. We also trying under the 2020 to move to South-South. I think one of the states, I think is either Calabar or Delta is the next. Because of the COVID, we've put all the arrangement, but we are waiting to actually do that. Provision has been made for that, and we'll continue to go for the institutional assessment for both rural water supply and the various urban water supply system. This is actually in place and has been institutionalized. Then the increase in funding, of course, this is quite a little bit expensive if we have to do that. So we're also appealing to states, especially those in the urban supply who have not had quite a lot of history assessment for very quite apart from the World Bank, so that we can also do it on both sides. Sometimes you can initiate it, then we also complain with our own expertise to be able to assist to do that. I think that's the position with institutional assessment as of now.
Thank you, the chair. Well, sorry, I listened to some of the comments. These memos did not derive from the floor. We came up with the memos, which means we are speaking to your mind, and we saw exactly what you don't have and what you need. So if there's any abrasive statement from the floor, I think it is unfair to us, because we decided to bring this out for the benefit of everybody. Now, one of the reasons why we do this is if you say you're working in water resources and somebody meets you anywhere you say you're working in water resources, he may ask you a few things about water. They don't really care whether you're an engineer, a geologist, a hydrologist, it's just about water. And then you find yourself say, wait, you have not read it. It is not right. We say at any level, we should at least give you a small briefing, just induction course, to know exactly where you're working, and also for your own, because it includes water management, it includes understanding what water is, and how you can use the water for your health. So the induction covers all this. So all I want to say is that even if we have not done much according to your thing, we instituted this program just because we thought we should speak to you while you speak to us.
Now, Odumosu says something. In fact, it's one of those reasons we created. Now, we created some offices. It is difficult to create office, you know. We have one in Abeokuta. Ogun gave us one. Upper Benue gave us, Lower Benue gave us an office. Sorry, where again? Rivers, Niger Delta gave us an office. So now I've been discussing with Anambra Imo, and he said we should visit Enugu and see one. We are going round. When this is done, we post people there. Right now, on the process of posting people to these offices, so that some of these induction courses can be done within these areas. Instead of traveling all the way to Kaduna, we can visit you and provide these courses. As Engineer Gowon said, but there are some courses that you have to do in Kaduna. And apart from these induction courses, we had a variety of courses that have been in the air for many, many years, and you're aware of them. These are new ones that we are introducing to broaden the scope of the understanding of people in water. So please, if you have any blame, let's try and put them together and share, maybe to go around all of us. Thank you very much.
So I guess we're all satisfied with that. We're all satisfied. Anyone who needs more information, see me after the session. We have to hurry up, please. So let's quickly go to number 5. Memorandum on the need to equip the Hydrological Modeling Center of the agency for improved operational hydrological activities and services. And it's my pleasure to invite NISA to provide an update. NISA. NISA. Okay. Come up to the podium, please. Is that mic working?
Yes, that's yes.
Is it working?
No, it's not working.
Okay, let me. The chairman of the session and members on the high table, other distinguished colleagues. Memorandum on the need to equip the Hydrological Modeling Center of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency for improved operational activities and services. Action taken. The modeling center has been established and equipped at the agency, having the following: server composed of Power Edge T640 Intel Xenon Silver and optical operating system. There is precision power of 300 series. 4 desktop computers. Software have been installed. We have a SWAT, that is Soil and Water Assessment Tool. GeoSPEM, that is Geospatial Stream Flow Model, and ArcView 32. The agency conducted, the 2 models mentioned here are used for our prediction with regards to flood. And using one of the models, the SWAT, 10 of NISA staff was held between 12th and 16th October 2020 on the use of SWAT hydrological modeling tool. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, please stay for questions. So we've heard NISA. So do we have any comments, questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you once again, ma'am. I heard the director mention only 3 software. DG or, well, I'm not conversant with this title. 3 software for hydrological modeling. We know that hydrological modeling is beyond those 3 software. I want to advise you to get more than just those 3 you mentioned, so that your work can be very extensive and not limited by not having the appropriate software at appropriate time. Those 3 are okay, but there are still others in the market that you can acquire for modeling. Thank you very much.
Yes. So did you get that advice? Any other question, comment? Are we okay with the report, the update? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. So quickly we go to number 6, memorandum on the implementation of programs towards reduction in greenhouse gas emission in the sector in line with the nationally determined contribution button. And for that, we invite the Climate Change Unit of the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, members of the High Table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start this presentation by stating that what cannot be measured cannot be managed. In the water sector, we want to use this memo actually to be able to quantify the emission scenario coming from the sector. And as you are all aware, Nigeria is a signatory to the Paris Agreement as contained in what we call the nationally determined contributions. So the NDC review mechanism is ongoing now, and many of our stakeholders are involved in the review mechanism. The good news is the fact that in 2015, when the Paris Agreement was being signed, water was not included. But in this review mechanism, water is now lucky identified as adaptation and mitigation sector. So we're in the right path. All what we just need to do is for us to, put our house in order to be able to actually quantify what emission is coming from water. Because when you are trying to get a bankable project, the emission scenario from your sector is a key element. For this purpose, under the period, the period under review, we've been able to have some stakeholders meetings. We've been able to also develop a template for capturing these emissions, especially from irrigated agriculture, water supply, wastewater, and so on and so forth. However, estimating the quantity is not a small job. So during the stakeholders consultations, we discovered that we required some training for our stakeholders to be able to, estimate the emission from their activities. So that is how far we've been able to go with the progress. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do I take it that the clap means it's okay? Thank you. Thank you, sir. So we move quickly to number 7, memorandum on the need for a robust national stakeholders sensitization and engagement program on the proper understanding of the National Water Resources Bill. And for this, I invite the department, the Legal Services Unit of the Federal Ministry of Water Resources to provide an update. Thank you.
The chair.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Are you from the Legal Services Department?
No,
Because
no.
that's the director.
The commission.
coming
The
up.
commission.
Pardon?
The commission.
No, it's the Legal
Oh,
Services Department, sir. Thank you. Number 7.
Madam Chairman, distinguished members on the high table, and distinguished members. My name is Nurini Oyedeji Ibrahim, Director Legal Services in the Ministry. So my response to item number 7 is as follows. The Honorable Minister had, in the recent past, organized media briefing to sensitize members of the public. The Honorable Minister had, in the recent past, organized media briefings to sensitize members of the public on the benefits and desirability of the National Water Resources Bill. For example, recently, a media program was jointly organized by the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and Honorable Minister of Information. Where the ministry was also, the Honorable Minister, for example, recently a media briefing was jointly organized by the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and also the Honorable Minister of Information. The joint press briefing took place at Obasanjo Hall, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. Also, the Honorable Minister has recently appeared before the before the joint committees of the National Assembly on Water Resources, where the ministry was also advised to organize a sensitization program on the Water Resources Bill. The essence of the Honorable Minister's appearance at the National Assembly Joint Committee session was to make some clarifications on certain provisions of the National Water Resources Bill, which has been generating some measure of controversies, and particularly the issue, the misunderstanding of the people with the issue of Ruga, because some people are of the opinion that the National Water Resources Bill is a subtle way of reintroducing Ruga. Also, the Honorable Minister had also briefed the Nigerian Governors Forum in September this year, where the Governors Forum resolved that the proposed bill and other relevant laws will be studied by their respective Honorable Attorneys General and the Executive Councils of the various states, after which a common position of states will be presented to the Ministry of Water Resources. So, but as far as the issue of organizing a kind of workshop or seminar where there will be a forum of this nature to discuss on the provisions of the Water Resources Bill, from what I have heard from my predecessor in office and our legal consultant, nothing like that has happened ever since that of 2019. But I have been made to understand authoritatively that the ministry is about to organize one. So that is my submission.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you very much, Director Legal. So now the floor is open for comments, suggestions, and questions. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for giving me opportunity for my comment. This kind of sensitization, it needs to be extended to the states. I want to give an example with my state, Bauchi State. My name is Adamu Ali, Director of Water Supply, Bauchi State, Ministry of Water Resources. We were being supported by Water Aid to develop a bill, wash bill. It has been ratified and sent to the government house. From there, sent to the State House, Bauchi State House of Assembly. It receives first and second reading, but it has been passed to the House Committee on Water. So the fact that they don't understand what is the content of this wash bill, they did not release or they didn't pass the bill up to now. But with this, their sensitization, when it is being extended downwards to the state government, I believe they will quickly pass it. They will have a good understanding of what the content of the bill. Because what normally stops or bring issues on passing bills in the State House of Assemblies and even the national, you find out that after going through the bill, they will look at certain aspect of the bill that they don't have interest on it. Like this Bauchi State bill, there is that issue of creation of small town water supply agency and the regulatory commission inside. So some of them doesn't like that because they think as if they will take the responsibility of one agency and give it to the small town water supply. After the whole thing has been demarcated, the work of rural is there, the communities were specified, the work of urban is there, and the communities were specified, and also the work of the small town water supply agency is specified. And the communities, the number of communities that they will do their own activities has been specified. And even the small town water supply communities were specified. So, as the presenter also make an example of certain portion of the bill that people have issue on it. So, I believe if this kind of sensitization from the legal service of Federal Ministry of Water Resources is being extended down to the state, it will help to a greater extent. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, but let me just give an added information, even though the director mentioned it. He said the Honorable Minister of Water Resources has made a presentation at the National Economic Council, which is the council where all the governors of the states are. And they actually took copies of the bills back to the attorneys general to study and to advise. So right now, the ministry is only waiting for a feedback from the National Economic Council. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I stand on existing protocols. I think the gentleman that just spoke and your comments is from the two sides. He is talking about the bill that they developed in Bauchi State for water supply. Just like the one we developed in Adamawa State that is yet to be passed. I think the skepticism of the states to pass the bill that was developed by the states is also as a result of non-passage of the National Water Bill. That is hindering its own passage with other issues as he mentioned in as contents of their own bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, there's a hand at the far end.
Thank you very much. The emphasis there is for the legal department, but I can see one particular thing that is important, and that sector have not been looked into. the activities of the non-governmental organization are very important to drive agenda. If you leave it to politicians, all manner of things, there are what you will call inherent suspicion, depending on which part of the divide that they are from. But once the agenda is being driven also by active NGOs in the sector, then people will listen because they seem to trust them more because they've done a lot of things that has brought change. So I don't think the NGO, already there are misinformation from some of these NGO about the water bill. And it is very, very difficult if you allow misinformation to creep into the matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see a hand at the very far end.
Thank you very much. Standing on existing protocol, I'm Engineer Prince Silvanus from Rivers State Ministry of Water Resources and Rural Development. I think this memo is actually talking of national sensitization and engagement. Though the reporter has said the Honourable Minister has made press releases or presentations, I think it shall be important that stakeholders, the expedite actions on stakeholders' engagement by organizing workshop to sensitize them on the importance of this bill. Because this bill has been before the National Assembly for quite some time now. And it's also made for us to understand that there have been some alien issues. So that stakeholders at state levels, local government levels, should be involved on this sensitization so that they know the situation and make their contributions. Even though at the State Executive Council have taken through governor to various attorney generals, I think at the operational level, all other stakeholders, somebody said NGOs, other ministries, other involved in water sector, have to have involved in engagement of this policy so that we will be carried along so that those early issues may be addressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I think it's important for us again to also take notice that the sensitization we are talking about, the robust sensitization that is being spoken about on the bill, is the type that is all-encompassing. I think what we have seen over time is what has been taking place is reactionary. It is only when people talk about a particular section of the bill that you will see reactions to it. I think we should be proactive. The bill has a lot of important provisions. We don't have to wait until when the bill, any part of the bill is attacked before we start reacting to the attack. I think the people that are doing the sensitization should be very proactive so that they can make Nigerians know about the very important provisions of the bill so that people will get to know that the bill has a lot of other provisions, not the only provisions that are being complained about.
Okay, please, everybody here can play a part in getting this bill passed. And what do I mean by that? You may know a politician because that's why it lasts. It's not through anything else. The governor may not be in good terms with the senator or what have you, but you may be. If you are an advocate of the water bill, you may be able to convince such people. The Honorable Minister had taken advocacy to a higher level. Electronic, visual, and audio, print even. Some people here have talked to editors, I know, and we've had better coverage of the bill. Neglect the instruments of conversation. That's the newspapers and all those radio interviews and what have you. That's why I say you can help. Don't count yourself out. Don't leave it to the minister. Advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Professor Emeritus. I think he has said it all. Each and every one of us in this hall ought to be an advocate for the Water Resources Bill because we know its importance to the water sector. And just to add, I do recall that at the last council meeting, the Honorable Minister spoke with the commissioners of water resources from the 36 states and requested that they go back and spread the good news about the Water Resources Bill. So we want you to please join the advocacy for the Water Resources Bill. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Well, since I know the history of the bill we are talking about since 2004, but I'm not talking about that. The gentleman that stood up a while ago talking about sensitization. Now, the legal guy and their group, they have done a good job. But I think the feedback I have from the executive director of the commission is that they also were given this assignment. And what they have done is what some people have raised now. That will complement what our great minister was doing. We are, as part of the MPAC, we know exactly, we know what was happening, what he was doing. But in addition to that, the commission has done a lot of things. I just quickly summarize it because time is not on our side. The national sensitization, the objective of this is to enable the stakeholders have a proper understanding of the National Water Resources Bill, its provisions, the contents, and even the objectives. Now, the Commission, National Sensitization and Advocacy Campaign, has designed it for all the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Now, they have done 17, they have covered 17 states and the FCT. They have done that. What they did was to answer accordingly, to educate them. Now, the Commission has conducted interactive sessions also on media organizations and with the CSOs, the civil society people have also been, and also webinars. They have organized webinars at which they involve a number of stakeholders and on other platforms. And the importance of this bill, which we all want, but we are not agreed on how we want it. In fact, the last thing they have done is to seek for funding in the 2021 appropriate to complete the national sensitization and also to go to the grassroots. People are talking about the grassroots. That's very, very important. So this is what I was going to say, is to supplement what the legal officer and others have done. This is what the Commission has done.
Thank you very much, Prof. We appreciate the work of the committee. Thank you. So do we have any questions? Are we okay with this? Are we all resolved to be a part of the advocacy team for the National Water Resources Bill? Thank you very much. Thank you, Director Legal. So quickly we go on to the next one. I'll ask the MC to read the next one, number 8.
Thank you, ma'am. Memorandum on the assessment of current utilization of the water resources infrastructure in river basins in Nigeria. NCWR is supposed to give us a response on the need for Nigeria Integrated Water Resources Management Commission to take urgent action to carry out the assessment of current utilization of water resources infrastructure in selected hydrological boundaries in line with the NRI strategy from 2016 to 2030. The ED will respond on that. Okay. Okay, I think the chairman of the committee.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Chairman, Madam Chairman, sir, and the members of the High Table. The Commission has taken this up, find water users in the various areas of the catchment areas. They have actually created a comprehensive database of users of the water infrastructure. What are they used for? In fact, a project that contributed to this is the face of the what you call the water footprint project, which was done in the Commission. Water footprint is the amount of water that are used to produce or to supply various goods and services. So that a single person in Nigeria, for instance, is the water footprint will be made of the water used to produce his food, his drink, his clothing, his shoes, and so on. And this is done by most developed countries. But the Commission is doing it for the first time in Nigeria. For instance, the water fruit per capita per year for US is 2480 cubic meters. For China, it's 700 cubic meters. For the global average, it's half of the US, 1240 cubic meters per capita per year. And in doing this project, they were able to inform this particular assignment that was given them. They ensure that the protection of the environment and the sustainability of the infrastructure. Even some supermarkets are now trying to see that the footprint is reduced for their goods so that the expense will be, it will be not be as expensive as it is now. Now, the Commission has compiled a phase of the project, which is part of the water footprint of selected states in 8 hydrological areas, and the final report has been submitted to the consultant. So database is being developed and will be completed in 2021 as provisions of is made in the project for this as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we satisfied with the update? Thank you, Prof. So now I'll hand over to the MC, and he will take the next number 10, 11, and 12, and he'll take them together. We'll come back to number 9 at a later time.
Thank you very much. Memorandum on the development of Comprehensive National Irrigation Development Plan 2016 to 2030 for Nigeria. It sought the need to encourage states, including FCT, to produce similar plans and forward same to the Federal Ministry of Water Resources in order to be incorporated into the National Irrigation Development Plan. I think the Department of Irrigation Drainage will take that. Next, 11, memorandum on the need for the protection of acquired irrigation land against encroachment. It saw the need for the Federal Ministry of Water Resources to collaborate with the state governments and all key stakeholders to protect its acquired land against encroachment. The last in that series is memorandum number AM12, memorandum for implementation, updating, and publication of history of irrigation and drainage in Nigeria from pre-colonial time to 2019. In this particular memo, the need for the Federal Ministry of Water Resources to fully support financially, logistically, and materially the update and produce the production of the history of irrigation and drainage in Nigeria between 1999 to 2019. The Department of Irrigation Drainage will give us an update. Thank you.
Good afternoon, the Permanent Secretary. I observe the already established protocol. On the first memorandum on the development of comprehensive national irrigation development plan from year 2016 to 2030 for Nigeria, we have contacted and informed or reminded the states to come up with their submission so that we can integrate with the one that we already have at the ministry. Some of the river basin development authorities have also submitted their own input, and we are also expecting that this input should come in, as soon as possible, while we are also guided with a national water resources master plan. Because whatever irrigation development we are having, we have to be guided by the national water resources master plan. We shall send reminders accordingly to the states, and then we are including the private establishment, private organizations also, because we want to make this document to be as comprehensive as possible. As we are aware, irrigated agriculture is the key thing that can take us, to the level of self-sufficiency, improved food production, especially with the the situation we just overcame on COVID-19, because I believe we have overcome. We need to look inward and produce our food, by ourselves, rather than depending on the other countries that are even already afflicted and they are not able to produce. We can produce locally, and we can also export for foreign exchange earnings to boost our economy. We have strengthened our relationship with the River Basin, Development Authority on our various projects, planning, design, and we are working together on this. Between 18th to 22nd of November, year 2020, we had a workshop on establishment and strengthening of water users association in our public irrigation schemes, and this was graciously hosted, well, let me use the word, the River Basin, Anambra Imo River Basin Development Authority, was able to host the program, and we had very active support and participation from the Southeast region. That was the first regional workshop that we had in the series, and we are also looking forward to hosting other regional workshops throughout the country. The essence of this is to ensure that our farmers in public irrigation schemes are well constituted with full legal support and well established, and where they are not already in existence, we will establish them, and where they are already on ground, we will strengthen them, that they will be able to produce, and operate the project, the irrigation project that have been put together, so they will no more be dependent on the federal government, to operate certain parts of the irrigation scheme, especially at the secondary and tertiary level. They will be able to maintain this infrastructure effectively and also gain, their economic returns from the inputs that they make from their farming activities. So I will use this opportunity to, prepare the minds of other regions in the country, that very shortly, when we have the schedule of how the regional workshops will be coming up, then we'll be able to collaborate together with the host river basin in that region, as well as, the states that are, located in the various regions. Let's work together on this. The next memorandum to protect the need for protection of acquired irrigation land against encroachment. This was also tabled. It was an action memo in the last council in Mina, and we all emphasized the need to carry out, a survey. The ministry has commenced the boundary survey of all our irrigation schemes nationwide, in collaboration with our survey unit of the ministry. And we have not done just namely Midurima Valley Irrigation Project, Gurara Irrigation Project, and not too long ago we started something on Gari, which we are going to extend to cover the boundary. So this is key because we have discovered that when some of these lands were initially given to our river basin, with time, because the development was not active or fast enough, some communities, some individuals have decided to encroach into this land. And this is virtually reducing the quantum of land that we now have available to enable us engage in active irrigation and drainage, project development, and as well as operation and management. So this is very important. We want to remind all stakeholders to submit their efforts so far, so that we can have a very robust, articulated documentation on what we have done so far to this end. Also, concerning the third memorandum on implementation, updating, and publication of history of irrigation and drainage in Nigeria. Already we have a particular documentation on history of irrigation development in Nigeria, but we are taken by incorporating the traditional method, that is those dated back to pre-colonial era, and this is presently, the deck study on this is presently ongoing, and the subcommittee on irrigation, drainage, and agriculture has tasked its members to submit their input, and we are also soliciting for inputs from other stakeholders to enrich this important document. What that document will also enable us to do is to know how Nigeria had done it in those days, and how we can improve on those pre-colonial era technology. Our own technology can be improved rather than just importing and trying to fix it into our environment. So we hope that in the next reporting we'll have more updates to give on this. Thank you for listening. Thank you, ma'am, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I believe the clap signifies that you are satisfied with the update. No? Yes? I see a hand.
Very well taken update, ma. My own concern is on this pre-colonial. And we know colonial time started in the 19th century in Nigeria. We are in 21st century. That is 2 centuries. Then you are not saying pre-colonial, you are talking about 3 centuries. Do we have the capacity to go that back 3 centuries, what they were doing then? I don't know how they are going to do it, if it is history. So my concern is what you want to use, or post-independence or something. Pre-colonial is a long, long way back, and I'm wondering how you are going to achieve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that observation. Any other? So, Department of Irrigation, have you noted the observation? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.